So one of the most inspiring encounters I've had recently with someone is I went up to a homeless guy. I said, "Excuse me, I left my wallet at the house, but I'm super hungry. Do you have a couple extra dollars for me to ride the bus?" He said, "No, but if you want, you could ask them for a courtesy ride and they'll let you, most likely they'll let you get on the bus." And I said, "Okay, cool. Like, I appreciate you telling me that. Do you have some food? Like, I'm hungry." And he said, "Oh yeah, like sure." And he gave me food, like the food that he had. I was like, wow, that's like really cool. Like this guy is like homeless and he gave me food. So I got the food and I sat next to him and I was like, all right, I gotta try the food to see how it is. So I took a bite from the food and I was like, wow, that's fire, thank you. And then I started asking him questions, about, hey, like, are you homeless? He said he is. I asked him, like, how did you get in this position? I was really inspired by his honesty. He told me he was on drugs and he quit his job and like he wants to get better. I really respected that he told me the truth. And I asked him a bunch of other questions. And then at the end, I gave him $100 for being so kind to me, sharing his food. He was really happy. And then I was like, all right, come on, man, give me a hug. And when I told him, like, give me a hug, he was like, oh, yeah, man, like, I actually needed a hug. And then we hugged. And I was actually having a really bad day that day. Like, I was filming content. Things weren't working out for me. And after that interaction, I felt way, way better. And I felt so inspired and like, wow, like, that was such a great interaction. Like this guy was homeless, but he was so sweet and so loving. And there's a lot of lessons I learned from him. So that was one of the best interactions I've had recently.
Yeah, brother, I appreciate you coming today, truly. And as I told you, this is the first one in person. So, excited to hear your story, excited to see and show everyone what you do, the story behind it, why you do it, and, just have a really real deep interaction today. Today you create content, you're really good at it, you're big at it. What were you doing before content and what do you do today, just to start as an intro?
I was doing real estate before I did content. That's what I did after high school. I got into it when I was 19 and I hated it. And I just did it because I was looking to get in business and it was kind of an easy thing to get into. And my sole purpose of doing it was to make money and to get rich. And my motivations were like, when I do and I become successful, people are gonna like me more, I'm gonna make more money, I'm gonna have a nice house, the girls are gonna be more interested in me. It was all like doing it so I could get a result so people could like me more. And then that was very unfulfilling for me. I remember telling myself, once I was a year or two into real estate and I started closing some deals, I had a deal I made $5,000. I sold an apartment. $150,000 apartment. I sold it. I made $5K commission. And I was like, man, this ain't it. I don't feel that great. I worked so hard. I made 5K. It's the process wasn't fun. The reward wasn't fun. I remember thinking, I was like, all right, well, maybe when I make more money on a deal, I'll be happy. It'll finally feel good. Then 6 months to a year later, I close a deal. I make 45,000. 10x, bro.
Wow.
Almost 10x, right? From one deal. And I still was like, this just isn't. So the journey of it wasn't fun and the reward of it wasn't super satisfying. So yeah, after about 4 years, I finally left real estate. About 4 years. I finally left real estate and I had the courage to do something I love, which is content. And it's going really well. So I'm
amazing.
grateful.
And what was that switching point that you would say after 4 years? Because some people, like you said, they're in this comfort zone. They're doing things not knowing why they're doing it. They're making money also, and they're making more and more money, and then they're spending it on things that are not even making them happy, and it's just a loop that never ends. But for you, it did end, and you did pretty well. You know what I mean? You are good at what you do, and at some point you're like, okay, this is not for me. I don't feel purposeful about it, and then after 4 years you stopped. Why?
Because I was miserable. That was really the reason. It's just because I hated it, and I hated my life, and I kept having to force myself to do it every day. It wasn't I didn't ever find a stride of inspiration. It was just constantly getting harder and harder to wake up every day and do it.
For sure.
Until I just kind of broke and it was all right.
And then what made you pick up a camera and say, okay, let me try this content creation thing?
I had enough pain, man. It was just a very painful time in my life. I was in a relationship with a girl that was much older, and it was somewhat, you could call it a toxic relationship. It wasn't aligned. She wanted to have kids. I didn't want to have kids. there was a few very important fundamental things that she wanted that I didn't want, or that I wanted that she didn't want, right? There was fundamental red flags in the relationship. And that had been going on for about a year and a half. And then I was doing commercial real estate at this time, right before I left, in Jacksonville. And I had a business partner in the commercial real estate, but I hated the commercial real estate. So I hated my business, I hated the relationship I was in, I hated myself. I wasn't talking to my mom. I didn't really have close friends that I actually liked. And I remember, like, with all this stuff kind of, it all started to collapse slowly because of that lack of passion. Mm-hmm. And I just had a lot of pain, man, because I just knew that there's something else I wanted to do, and it was just eating me alive, you know? So eventually I left that relationship. I left the business, the commercial real estate, and I moved back to Miami with my mom. I called her, like, right when I realized I was gonna break up with this girl and leave the business. And I was like, hey, Ima, Ima means mom. I was like, hey, Ima, I realized that I've had resentment towards you, and I was with this girl to try to avoid things that I had with you. And, you know, I told her what I learned. I moved back in with her, and it was sort of a fresh start. I left this business, I left this girl, clean slate. And I reconnected with my friend Daniel we were friends, but we didn't really talk too often. Mm-hmm. When I moved back to Miami, we reconnected. He already started making content. He had a video that had 20 million views already. And I told him, I'm interested in making content, and he encouraged me. He's like, bro, do it, you know? And so I started, and he helped me out. He came over. He would look at my videos. He'd give me feedback. He would help me with the editing, the basics of the editing. And that was the start for me, you know? Wow. So it took a lot of courage, man. It took a lot of courage, but also I just had enough pain. And I wasn't running away from the pain. A lot of people, like you said, that they're in a loop where they just stay in the same cycle for the rest of their life. I think it's because they find a way to really just numb their pain. Maybe they take drugs. Maybe they find some sort of thing that just distracts them. I didn't do that. I felt the pain.
Wow.
And I was very motivated to make a change. And I did.
That's insane. And, you know, when you came in today, man, you still have the best energy. You're just all hyper and jumping. And I'm like, what's up, bro? What's new? What's going on? And you're telling me you are creating content. You are passionate about it. One of the most passionate people I've ever met that are doing this. But then you said I'm trying this new type of content. I love it. And then I feel like my results are better because of this. So how important is energy and passion in projects that you do?
For me, it's everything. Because there's a lot of people that say, oh, you don't need to be passionate about what you do. You just need to be good at it. Mm-hmm. For me, that's bullshit. That just hasn't worked for me. Maybe if you're more business oriented and analytical, maybe that mindset could work. But for me, as a creative, passionate, expressive type of personality, I find it's important for me to be enthusiastic about what I'm doing, and that brings me the best results. Because if I don't like what I'm doing, it's very obvious. I'm just an obvious person. People can tell if I hate it. And they don't want to be around that.
Of course.
But if I'm passionate, people gravitate, and everything just becomes, people say yes more. People want to do things with you. People want to collaborate. It all becomes easier. So it's important because of that. Because it just makes everything easier.
And for people that are going through pain, but they're like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. For you met this guy, it was a good timing, and you were in a time of your life that you're like, I need to get out of this shit. I don't want to be here. So you met him, and it led you into good things. But for people that don't know where to start, how would you recommend that?
So, okay. That's a good question. The first step is taking action on the first inspired thought you have. Mm-hmm. So in my story, the first step was to leave the things that weren't aligned. I had the intuition to leave those things, the business and the girl. I had to do that before I saw the next step after. Some people, they have a step in their head. The step is, oh, I'm working this job that I hate. Leave the job. They don't want to do it. They want to know what the step after that is. They're never going to get that.
So true.
It can't come to you because you're so fixated that this is the way the mind works. The mind fixates on the next thing you have to do. So once you do that, it's like, then the mind thinks of the next thing, and then you do that. And then it's this flow. Take one step, then you take the next step. That's how it works.
So now you took the first step, bro, and content creation is not easy. You know, everyone sees the results. They're like, oh my God, they have a good life. They make all these views. They have all these partnerships. But you took that first step. You know, you started creating content. And for sure, you know, when you started, you didn't get the views that you wanted or you dreamt of, or you didn't get the results you wanted. What kept you through? Because, you know, you were going through a hard time. So what kept you through during the beginning phase of your new step?
Yeah, it was just faith, man. Like, I just knew it was eventually going to work. And finding growth in making the content as well. Like, I felt like I was growing while doing it. I was becoming a better person. I had enough passion for it to do the things that I didn't have passion for. So it just, and also, anytime I thought of doing something else, I was like, what else am I going to do? There was no other thing I wanted to do. So it was like, this is it. And then when I started making content around January of 2023. Mm-hmm. And then I made content of me talking to the camera, talking about spirituality. This went on for about 8 months. And in the beginning, it was cool, but very quickly, I didn't have passion for it. And so I overcame the first hurdle of starting to make content, but then I was in another hurdle of I don't really like doing this and it doesn't feel fully authentic. And I wasn't getting a lot of views. I was getting like 50 views, 100 views a video. I was gaining barely any followers. It was stagnant. And then I had the courage, that built up pain. So again, it's like 8 months goes by, I'm making videos, posting consistently, it's not working. 100 videos after, it's still not working. I'm like, all right, something's gotta change. This ain't working. Pain. Like, oh man, are you really gonna stay the same or are you gonna have courage to do something else? So that's when I went out and I started interviewing. Then within 2 weeks, I went viral for the first time. And then that was the first thing that worked. The first product, you could call it, right? It's like interviewing people. And then the same thing happened with that, man. After like 3 months, I started getting tired of that. But I stayed doing it. Became stagnant. I was getting views, but money was stagnant. I was making this kind of similar amount of money consistently that just kind of reached a cap. And I would have some views that would go viral, but I felt stagnant until now where I finally pivoted again. So what I've learned is like, it's the same concept of taking that step. When there's that thought of like, I don't want to do this, this is what you need to do. Like, follow that inspiration. Even if it doesn't make any sense, just follow that inspiration and it's going to lead you to a path that you're never going to expect that's going to be magical.
A lot of the topics that you post about and the content you make is around inspiration and about self-development. Can you tell us a little bit more about the videos you make today?
The videos I'm making now.
Yeah, the videos you're making now.
So right now it's all about promoting kindness and love and really showing up with kindness to other people in the world. That's what the content is promoting. That's what my current content is promoting. And yeah, so basically what I've been doing is I've been doing these social experiments where I act like I don't have money, for example, and I'm outside a restaurant. I'm like, oh, excuse me, I left my wallet at the house, but I'm super hungry. Could I get something to eat with you by any chance? And then I show the people that say no. I show the process, the rejections. And then I show the person that says yes. I eat with that person. And then at the end of the video, I give them money. So that's one concept, but that's kind of the vibe of it. It's like I'm doing these experiments to see how people are going to respond and to find really awesome human beings that just surprise me. Like some of the people I'm meeting, bro, I'm shocked by how nice they are.
Yeah.
I'm like stunned. So if I'm stunned, the audience is stunned, and it's beautiful.
And it's beautiful because what you're doing, you're getting a lot of views for these videos, which is amazing, but you're also kind of making a positive impact on the viewers. You know, people are watching this and they're like, wow, if I help someone out, you know, maybe it could help me in life. Or, you know, there's so many good people out there. Maybe I should see how I can change my life and becoming a better person. Social media industry is huge. I read today, it's projected to be around $140 billion by 2030. We're having creators for everything. You know, in Florida, we have creators only for like OnlyFans. We have creators who just film the most random things, but you're doing something that's a little bit more impactful. What got you into this kind of content beyond the views?
Yeah, I think I'm just very passionate about life. I'm very passionate about what it takes to live a great life. And I'm constantly developing myself and seeing what I can do to improve myself and what perspective I need to change to enjoy my life on a greater level. So naturally, I with my content, I gravitate towards things that are going to make an impact.
And for businesses or people that, they want to get on social media, why is social media so important, especially in this day and age?
Well, if you want to get something known in the world, what better way to do it than social media? Where you could just grab your phone or grab glasses like I'm doing now with my videos. Literally, I just go out with glasses and record videos that get millions of views. What better way to do it than that, where you just have access to the whole world at your fingertips and you can make videos so easily and put them out. Yeah. If you're a business, you can do it to promote your business. If you're an influencer, you can do it to promote whatever you're passionate about.
Yeah, and it surely, changed your life for the better.
Yeah, because listen, man, I used to work hard. I used to genuinely work hard, bro. Like I used to wake up early and fucking cold shower and meditate every day and like manifest how I was gonna be rich and like think of all the shit, which you could say brought me to where I am today, which it did. But I used to work hard, bro. And I used to struggle and I used to hate what I did, and which made it hard. Cold calling in real estate, bro. Hours a day, cold calling. And being a lot more disciplined. And today, bro, I feel like I barely work. Like I just I have an idea for a video. I go out, film it in 2 hours, come back, hop on the phone with my mom, hop on the phone with my friends, have a great talk with them. All right, cool, let's do some editing, cop and edit, post it, get millions of views, make money. Yeah, there's some days that are a little bit more miserable. Don't get me wrong. There's some days where it's like, shit, I haven't posted in 3 days and I don't really have an idea that I feel inspired to do. Fuck it, let me just go do some idea I did in the past. Video bombs. I make barely anything. I lose money on it. There's those days, but there's this flow about it that it's like, the more I can be in enthusiasm and even on those hard days, bring myself to a great state, the better my videos are gonna come out, the more money I'm gonna make, the more impact I'm gonna make. So yeah, it's a really beautiful thing. Exactly. And I'm working a lot. I'm making more money, having more fun, and having greater ease in my life.
Yeah. And I feel like the root of all that is because you truly love what you do.
Yeah. It's not because I'm making content, bro. Someone could do real estate and be the most passionate real estate agent in the world, bro, and love what they do and make a lot of money, and it's easy for them because they're not working hard. They genuinely like picking up the phone and talking to people about real estate. It's loving what you do. Why would you do something every day, bro, for 8 hours a day, or 5 hours a day, or 6 hours a day, or 12 hours a day, however long you want to work, that you hate?
And let me tell you why I think that, and this is the reason, I started this podcast is, I speak to so many people, a lot of people also that come and move to the US, the land of the free, the land of the opportunity. There's so much money here, and it is easier than ever today to make a lot of money, especially with the digital age, with AI, with, reaching so many people at one time. So I feel like a lot of these people come here or grow up here, whatever it is, and they're, like you said, they already see the end goal. They do not see anything in between. They're like, I want a lot of money to have that girl. I want a lot of money to have that house. And then throughout the whole journey, they are making that money, and then they find out, damn, we're not even happy doing this. Let's make more money. That's the secret to being happy. Let's more money, So it's like a never-ending loop. And I've lived in places where people don't have money, you know what I mean? But they actually do what their purpose is. And, in Japan, they call it the ikigai. And it's so important having that purpose, because if you do have that purpose, you kind of get the best of all worlds in a sense and build that balance of a life.
I believe you could have whatever you want. If you want to be rich, you could still do what you love and be rich. If you want to be rich and have an amazing relationship with your wife and have passion projects that you work on and be, and have it all, you could do that. I think whatever you put your mind to is what you're going to create. Period.
And you said, when we were talking before that, now you have more passion than ever, and that's also making you more money. So that is a key tool, in growing your business and anything else you do.
I think so. If you're the type of person that maybe, I don't know, man, because a lot of people say that they don't really love what they do, but they're making millions of dollars a year doing it. Maybe they really do get enjoyment from what they're getting from it, and maybe they enjoy what they're doing more than they think they do. Because I think if someone really just hates what they're doing, it's gonna poison the whole operation, bro. I think you have to have some sort of enjoyment for some parts of it, to be successful.
Of course.
But I will say, if someone's lost right now and they're like, oh, what's my next step? What do I love to do? And they don't know. The worst thing you could do is just sit there and fucking try to think about it for 5 hours or weeks or months or a year. Oh, I don't know what I love to do, so I'm going to go on vacation. No, you take the first step. You think of the first thing that comes to your mind and you do it. And maybe you hate doing it. And then the next thing is going to come to you. And then you do that thing. And then eventually you land on something.
Exactly. I feel like execution is what differentiates, people who are actually succeeding in what they do versus people who are not. And like we spoke about, at the end of the day, you have your projects, I have my projects, but we're all lost in a way. We don't know what we want. We're all on this earth. We're all just living life. But at the end of the day, by just doing, it kind of opens up more things. And that's how life progresses and creates meaning in a sense. And let's talk a little bit more about meaning. You have millions of viewers all around the world, and you talk to thousands of people. Do you feel like people today are more hungry for meaning than ever before?
Yeah, I think a lot of them just don't know it though. Like a lot of people are miserable, but they don't even know why they're miserable. They're just kind of going about life, like hiding what they feel, trying to avoid the pain, get comfort in like anything that they can, but they're not really facing, why they really feel that way, Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think people are hungry for meaning, especially in a world where you have access to pretty much anything at your fingertips. In America, you can go one of two ways. You could be grateful as hell for this country and realize that it's the best country in the world and you have any opportunity and make the most out of it, or you could be like a victim and, oh, there's so many options. Like, what do I do? What's the purpose of all of it and all that? People in a war-torn country can't really think of, oh, what am I passionate about? They're just surviving, bro. Mm-hmm. They're not even thinking about meaning. They're just thinking of like, get to the next day, bro. We're in a place where we can have time to think about these things. It's such a blessing, bro. It really is a blessing that we're even in a place where we could talk about meaning, bro. It really is. I'm so grateful for this country and the opportunities that I have.
Me too. But all the people that are watching your videos, the millions of people, what do you think they have in common that makes your video so viral? What's that hidden secret that we all want to hear that makes your content so highly engaged, highly viewed?
You think you're asking with the people that watch it?
Yeah.
I think they really like seeing me go up to people and ask questions that maybe catch people and the viewers off guard. They're like, oh, wow, like he's asking them that. Like, that's an interesting thing to just go up to someone and ask. Mm-hmm. Like, could I get something to eat with you? Or could you get me a hotel for one night? Or things that I'm asking people is like, maybe that is like a hook. But I think the constant of it that keeps them coming back is really seeing the kindness of some of these people in the videos. Really being like, wow, there's people that are like willing to be like that in the world. I see a lot of the comments that are like, heart the person's name, or wow, like this person was so awesome, right? In the mm-hmm. comments. So I think it's that. I think that's really the thing that is the main driver.
And all the people you spoke to, I've watched your videos, I love your videos, and now you're starting a new segment like you said, and that's also very impacting. Out of all the videos and all the people you've spoken to, what was one of the most beautiful answers that has impacted you and changed your life in a way that you can share with us?
So now you're talking about the interviews I did. This is before the kindness thing. Mm-hmm. So before the kindness thing, I was interviewing people on life advice and wisdom. I was a street interviewer. So I'd go on the streets and I would basically ask people questions like, what's something you thought was important when you were younger, but now it isn't as important to you as you got older? What advice would you give to your younger self? What's your biggest regret? That was kind of my thing. Maybe some people that are watching saw that. What's the most impactful thing someone said? You know what, man? People used to ask me that when I would do the interviews, and I couldn't answer that question, bro. It was like, really? I would just make some shit up. I was like I just said something that I heard. But it's because I was listening to their advice, but I didn't take the advice. Interestingly enough, once I stopped doing the interviews, I had a big transformation. And when you said that, there's actually something that I heard over and over and over that now I'm living. So now I can appreciate the advice. And it was when I would ask them, what's something you thought was important when you were younger, but as you got older, you realized it wasn't that important. That was the way I asked it. And a lot of them said, you know, when I was younger, I thought money was important. I thought success was important. I thought external achievements were important. What people thought of me was important. What I wore, like basically other people's perception or like material achievement was what they thought was important. But as they got older, they realized family, relationships, those things are the most important. Relationships, family. And when they said that, I was like, all right, I hear you. But I was still focused on money and success. In the past few months, I've really started to see the value of relationships because it makes everything easier. Everything easier. If you have a business that you want to start or content or anything, and you're great with relationships and you see the value of relationships and people like being around you, business and all external achievement is built around connection with people anyways. Always. So the more you value people, the more you're going to get out of that. Not because you're going to get something out of it. You got to genuinely see the value. Because when the older people would tell me relationships, and I didn't see the value, I couldn't just force myself to care about people.
Of course.
I had to see the value of like, wow, I get fulfillment by interacting with people. So that was the best advice I've heard, man. Just focus on people. Really take the time to connect with someone. Give them your time. See how you could help someone else with their mission. Don't make it all about you.
That's an amazing answer. I'm happy, you found out because you've been trying to figure that out for a while. So here it happened.
I finally, yeah, that's cool. It's cool.
Because look, all the questions you asked inspired people in many ways, but it had to affect you as well. And it did. And you see the flowers blooming from that now, which is amazing. And you're on an amazing road and you're doing amazing things. And I can't wait to see the stuff that you do in the future. So don't forget about us. For the people that are watching this, and you're so good at asking questions, man. I don't even know how you come up with so many of these questions that really impact people. What's one question they should ask themselves to kind of get them in that next step in their life?
What's my next step? That's it. If you genuinely want to know what your next step is, if you sit there and you say God or universe or life, or even not that if you don't believe in any of those things, if you just say, the way I say it is like, God, what's my next step? Or just what's my next step? Or you could just ask it like that. What's my next step? You sit there and genuinely ask, genuinely care about getting a response. Believe you're going to get a response. Don't just, what's my next step? This is not going to work. What's my next step? Don't say that. What's my next step? You're going to get something that comes to your head. You're probably going to doubt what comes to your head if you're not used to doing this. If you're not used to doing this, you're going to get something, that's probably not it. Or maybe you're going to feel fear about what comes to your head. But if you take that step that comes to you, and you feel it. Because sometimes you'll get something that comes to your head that you just it's not inspiring. But if something comes to you that's either really scary, you don't want to do it, or it's wow, that lights me up. Those two are really great emotional responses. If you're scared, it's usually a great sign. If you're inspired, it's a great sign. If you're just whatever, that's not it.
I agree with that because I remember hearing this one thing where they said nervous and excited is the same feeling in the brain. So if right now I'm going to do something and I'm telling myself I'm nervous, you're going to be nervous, But if you tell your brain I'm excited for this, you're actually going to perform better in a sense because it's literally the same exact emotion in your brain. So that's kind of your brain telling you that's where you should be going. You just have to have that positive context around that. So that's amazing that you said that. And you spoke about what's next. What's next for you? Right now you started doing this new concept, and what's your dream? You know what I mean? What do you see yourself in 10 years?
Yeah, one of my next steps is singing, man. So right now I've been developing my voice. I've been doing a lot of singing, and I see myself coming out with music and I see myself having a hit song and performing on stages and stuff. I see it.
Wow.
So that's
the big dream.
That's the next step. That's the next step. It's in the process right now. So when it's time, I'll come out with stuff.
For sure,
with
bro.
Music stuff.
I'm excited. And a lot of people over the years have engaged in your content. We love this. This has inspired us. It's probably also affected you. But in your opinion, or what do you hope they feel when watching your videos, all these people?
I hope they feel inspired, man. I hope that when they watch the video, they say, wow, I can go do whatever it is that is my next step in life that I choose to do. That's awesome. That they watch the video and they're like, wow, I can go do whatever that is that I have the idea to do.
And to kind of wrap this up, what's one quotes or something inspirational that you can share with the viewers to kind of, you know, wrap this up and give them that boost of inspiration?
I would just tell them, think of what your next step is. Think of what that thing is in your head that you've been wanting to do or avoiding doing for a long time, and go do it. Maybe it's to leave something that you've been in for a while, a job or relationship that isn't serving you anymore, or maybe it's to actually go and do something new. Whatever that thing is, go take action on it, and you're going to learn the lessons to take action on the next thing after that. It isn't, you have to be willing to be wrong or to fail or to do something that you maybe wasn't your thing to find something that is a fit. So just go take action on whatever comes to your mind. That's what I would say.
Yair, my brother, your story is inspiring, brother. Thank you for sharing it with us today. And yeah, man, thank you for being the first guest, like I said, in person, and looking forward to your journey, brother.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you having me as the first guest in person, and I look forward to seeing which guests you have in the future. It's going to be great. You're going to crush it, bro. You're going to do big things, man.
Awesome,
You're awesome.
My brother. Appreciate you.